Hey everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing a week's worth of Factor meals. I want to try it out, see how it is, go through my thoughts, in the moment of actually eating it, and then kind of go through like my thoughts of having actually had it for a week. And then also a section of me just making an alternative meal or something you can do instead of using Factor. Without being all say, I want to make it very clear. I am not a dietitian, I am not a registered nutritionist, so what all I say is my own opinions, of course. And if you want a more scientific and nutritional focused approach, sadly this won't be the video for you, but I hope still it gives you a little bit of insight about Factor and more importantly about my own experiences with it. But that being said, let us begin. Okay, so I think the package just got delivered, so I'm gonna go downstairs and pick it up. It was a couple hours late, but that's okay. This is like the first time that they delivered it, so no issues there. Okay, here it is. Ta-da! Okay, so far so good. Nice insulation. I can see everything feels nice and cold, so there's no issue when it comes to if it's actually going to be having issues. I think definitely if you keep it out for like many hours, there'll be an issue, but I grabbed it right as they delivered it, so good. Actually, it looks like this is like thing of ice, so that's actually really nice. And then all of the meals. So here are all the meals. I got the 6 meal plan just because I just wanted to try this out. I don't want to go all ham. They look really nice. The installation was nice. Pretty great. Again, I think that this will definitely stay for an hour or two probably. Only maybe like more. I really don't understand installation that much. So I think you're pretty good if it turns into if for me you miss the window and you have to pick up your package later in the day. I think it should be good. Also, there's all this promotional stuff too. I probably won't be using this ever again, so if you ever want to use any of these, be my guest, showing them off. And also, I'm not sure what Kinsei is, but if you ever want to have, it looks like it's a clothing brand, so if you want 10% off, use that code. Okay, we're gonna start with the grilled chicken and brown butter Yukon mash with, it looks like, green beans, some mushrooms, and I think onions? Yeah, onions, and I think, green onions? More or less. It looks pretty good, definitely very standard, not frozen meal, but how frozen meal core without it actually being frozen. But it smells nice, so I'm excited to try it out. Okay, I was about to have most of it, so I don't want to give my thoughts before, I finish it up. So number one, I really do like this. I think that the vegetables are really well cooked. The green beans are still nice and bright, and the mushrooms are, again, just really, really nicely cooked. Potatoes are nice, nicely cooked again. The seasoning, honestly, it's a little bit, it needs salt, but I think that's okay because, they're cooking for so many people of different, taste buds and preferences. So I'm not gonna bump that down for them at all. The chicken itself, I was most surprised about. It is a tiny bit dry, but not super dry, just a little bit. And again, I think it's probably just because of the microwave, so I'm not gonna judge for that. It has a nice grilled taste to it, which I really, really like. As a whole, I really did like this. It did feel very healthy, but not disgusting. It still was nice. I kind of wish it had some garlic. I think some garlic would be really nice with this, but it's not bad, I still really like this. Also, I realized that the green stuff is actually leeks, so that's on me. But as a whole, I think this is really good. I think 1 out of 10, I would give this meal a solid 8. Okay, day 2 is pasta. So we have a roasted red pepper with tortellini and Italian sausage, and then, of course, some green beans. I was really impressed with the green beans yesterday, so I'm kind of excited for these. Okay, here's my, as usual, mid meal, it's called, debrief, you could say. So far, these are really good. I have really enjoyed the tortellini. It's very nice, nicely seasoned. Not super seasoned, of course, as usual. I think this is all under seasoned just because of what they have to do. But I did really like it. It is really good. It's a little bit of cheese. Not a lot, of course, because of the calorie limit, but a nice amount that you can taste it. It's really nice. The sauce tastes good, and the Italian sausage is nice and flavorful. So as a whole, big fan. Also, so far the bell peppers again are nicely cooked, so I'm really happy about that. Honestly, the vegetables are really well cooked. I've really enjoyed all of them. The actual green beans definitely needed a lot of salt and pepper. You just more or less any kind of seasoning. I think it's supposed to have maybe garlic, but cannot taste any seasoning on this. But so far, I would probably give this, I think it's not as good as yesterday's, but it's still really good. So I would give this probably a 7.5, I think. 7.5 out of 10. It is Wednesday. I have the sage and rosemary pork chop with, of course, broccoli and carrots. And I think they said that down below this is, let's see what it is called, cheddar grits. So very excited. Okay, so far this is my favorite dish of, all the ones I've had so far. The grits are nice and creamy, but it still has a little bit of bite, just enough that you know that it's not overcooked, but they're nice and creamy, and all in all, I really, really like these. The pork chop is really good. Again, a little bit dry, but just in that way that, it happens when you have a, tray, a meal. It's still really good. The rosemary seasoning is really nice. You can really taste the rosemary, which I really like. The vegetables are just normal. Again, needed some salt and pepper, but they were definitely more seasoned than the other two. So as a whole, I would give this probably a solid 9. I have really enjoyed this dish a lot, and so far, again, it's my favorite. So Thursday's lunch is a chicken with penne. It looks nice and creamy, and then also more green beans with, I think, little tiny onions. I think they're actually called pearl onions. So I'm very excited to try it out. So as always, vegetables are very good, nicely cooked. Again, need some salt. But again, I also really love salt. So it might just be just me. They are perfectly seasoned and I'm just going crazy. There is a nice, a little bit of olive oil with it, which I really, really do like. The actual pasta is also really good. The penne is perfectly al dente. I'm actually kind of impressed how al dente it is. It's very, very nice. The chicken is, as always, a little bit dry. You can really taste the fact that it was marinated, which I really do like. So as a whole, I would give this dish a solid 8.5 out of 10. Happy Friday! So I actually will be having Factor for both my, breakfast and lunch today. But for breakfast, I am having the shredded chicken taco bowl with corn salsa, and then also a little bit of sour cream, like lime sour cream. So it should be delicious. It smells really good. Okay, so I have mixed up all the ingredients together and also had a little bit of it. So far, I have really enjoyed this. I feel like they've all been very filling in their own ways, but this one feels almost like more filling. I'm not sure, maybe it's because it has maybe more protein or more carbs, but something about it, even though it's the same amount of calories of all the other ones, it feels more filling, which I really, really like. I have really enjoyed it so far, nice flavor. The cilantro sour cream, it's more watery than anything else, but it does bring a nice, a little bit creaminess and a nice, slight sourness, which is really nice. Not a lot, of course, not overbearing. The actual corn, of course, is nicely cooked. The rice is also nicely cooked. Again, very al dente, not at all under or overcooked. I think the only kind of quote-unquote issue I have is that the chicken, it's not as marinated as the other ones. I was expecting at least a little bit marinated, and it really wasn't. It was just regular chicken without any seasoning, which I was a little sad about because, they did so well with the other chickens that I feel like you could have at least put a little bit of marinade on this and it wouldn't have been a big deal. But after that, it has been really good. So I would give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. And just like that, we have the final meal of the week and the final meal of my review. And because I want to kind of, end this with style, I chose the, honestly, the most fun sounding meal to be the finale. And that is Nana's Sunday beef bolognese with lasagna and garlicky zucchini. I think it's actually pronounced Nona's. My grandma, I call her Nana because, her name is Donna, so, Nana. But that's why I pronounced that. But I think, if you're Italian, it is pronounced Nonna. But, from that little tidbit about my family history, or my family in general, here is the final meal. Okay, I've had enough to decide how I feel about this dish. So, number one, the zucchini, I think they actually is, perfectly cooked. It's a little bit harder, but I think, honestly, I personally like zucchini, grilled. So they're a little bit more, softer when I cook them. But this is still good in terms of cooking. I did wish there was more seasoning, honestly. This is the time where I kind of feel like, yes, I kind of get the other ones. But this one, I'm very much like, man, I wish there was, some onions or garlic or something. Honestly, garlic with this, roast garlic, would taste really good. But I have a feeling, I think, I could be wrong with this, but I think there are a lot of people who don't like garlic, or maybe are allergic, but more or less, maybe that's why there hasn't been a lot of garlic in these dishes. But more or less from there, the actual, bolognese, It is quite good. There's a little bit of cheese on top when I first, opened it. I did mix it up, of course, before I started filming. I wish there was more cheese, but again, they're trying to stick with the 500 calorie limit. So I get why, of course, there's no cheese because cheese is incredibly dense when it comes to calories. But I kind of wish there was more cheese. But even with that, it is still good. A solid bolognese. I really like the fact that the beef is a really good tasting beef. I feel like sometimes beef can have like a weird aftertaste. I think probably it's because it's not very, high quality beef, honestly. It's very low quality beef. But this doesn't have it. I feel like you would think maybe it would, but, again, it's pretty high quality and I really like that. So far, I have really enjoyed it. I also feel like the portion sizes are nice, again. I would probably give this a solid 8.75. So for the past few minutes or so, you have seen me actually eat my Factor meals. So what is the alternative to Factor? Of course, it is meal prep, the dreaded or celebrated meal prep. So I wanted kind of to, shift gears a little bit and create a, pretty simple, pretty basic, very, very easy. You can make this if you are a, skill 1 cook or a skill 10 cook. It's very simple to make, but kind of like gives you a good sense of what is the alternative for Factor. And of course, I'm just doing a really, really, really basic meal. Not a lot of frills, not a lot of whistles, just like something super easy because again, I'm really thinking that these meals are for people who don't want to do something really in depth. This is a fun little thing that isn't very hard, and you might be a little with the creativity, but it's simple, it's easy, and it's good. So I'm just gonna do a really, really simple 1-pan chicken dinner. So I have some potatoes, some green beans, because we've had so many green beans, and I felt like you just had to happen, and of course some chicken. Okay, so I have skinned potatoes, and I've cut them in quarters-ish. Put some oil down, some salt, but this is gonna go in the oven for around 15 minutes on 425 degrees. Okay, so the potatoes have been cooking for 15 minutes. I can tell they're not at all close to being cooked, but they're, getting there. And of course, I have flipped them. I have also added the chicken. I don't really know where I'm going to put the green beans, but that is, we'll get to the bridge when we get there. But this will be in the oven for another, I'm going to say let's say 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll start trying to figure out how to add the green beans. I didn't fight it. I just brought out a new pan. So this is like a quasi 1-pan meal, but honestly, if you have 1 pan, you probably should have 2, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I just coated the green beans in olive oil. I seasoned with salt and pepper, and then also I added some garlic because I feel like there's a lack of garlic in the other dishes, and I kind of want to have some here, so that it is. And this will go in the oven now for around, I want to say, 15 minutes or so, and then we'll see how they look after that. Okay, so the green beans are done. They look really good. They smell really nice. They were in there for around, I think around like 20 minutes or so. Okay, so we are done with the entire dish. Of course, we have our chicken, some potatoes, and of course the green beans. I was able to get around 4 portions. So with all that being said, you've seen my thoughts about Factor. You've seen my version of a meal prepped meal. What are my thoughts as a whole, and what do I recommend Factor to you guys? I like to begin by saying that I think that Factor's main audience, their like ideal customer, you could say, is very much somebody like me, a young professional who has a disposable income, who doesn't blink at a $15 meal for a lunch, and who is busy enough where they can't really make a meal very slowly, or take a long time making a meal for lunches or breakfast, or just like throughout the day. I think they also are looking for people who just don't have the ability or really the want to cook a lot. These are meals that you can just toss in the microwave for 2 minutes, get them out, let them cool down a little bit, and then eat them. There's not a lot of prep work involved. And that simplicity and that ease is a very marketable thing that they can work with. With that being said, of course, I think the biggest thing people have to think about is, of course, the price range. So I personally got my box for around like $50 something. I'll put like the price up here somewhere. But more or less, it calculated for around, I think like $6.50 or so per meal. Now, with that being said, I did use a promo code from a YouTuber I follow, shout out Tasting History. So of course, after the promo code, I think then it goes up to, I think like around $10 or so, and then finally, after all the promo is ended, you'll be giving them around $15 per meal for 6 meals a week. So if you think that's a lot of money, it's a lot of money, and if you don't, then that's who they're looking for. But I feel like that's a big deal for a lot of people, so just keeping that in mind as you're thinking about the actual process. Now, as a whole, You can probably tell from, my thoughts throughout the video, I did really enjoy these meals. Now, with that being said, a caveat is I am 5'1", so it doesn't take a lot of food to keep me full. So if you are somebody who needs more calories than like around like 500 calories per meal, this will probably not be enough for you. It was for me personally, but again, if you need more, then this will be an issue. Now, of course, the caveat again, I am not an actual dietitian or nutritionist, so I can't tell you, yes, these meals were 100%, amazingly balanced and, perfectly, created where you will get the most nutrition out of them. But I personally thought from my own experiences that they were really nutritious. They really did keep me going until, the next meal. So I really did think that they did what they were supposed to do. They were good and they kept me happy until I was done with work. And again, that's really what you need the most when it comes to having lunches. So I think that I really did enjoy this. I thought that just the peace of mind of just, tossing these in the microwave, heating it up, walking my dog a little bit, coming back, having a nice warm meal, having that, and then going back to work was really simple and really easy. And again, just a peace of mind. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, will I use this product again? I don't think so. And it's not because I don't like it. I did really like it. It's just because food for me, I really love. My life sometimes, for better or for worse, revolves around food. I'm very food focused. And I really enjoy it. And I enjoy making food. I enjoy prepping food. And at the same time, I also use, food and create food for my content. I make videos for you guys. So I have a big incentive to continue cooking and continue, creating. And it's not only just because I'm making videos, because honestly I'm not paid at all, so it's not like it's a monetary incentive. It's more just because I really like it. I have cooked and meal prepped and all this kind of stuff for so long that it's not a big deal for me to spend like an hour and a half to create meals every weekend. And it's not a big deal for me to cook every day, I really like it. But if it is for you, if you have a hard time cooking, if you just don't have the time to cook, you want to have a more, healthier or as healthy, versus like fast food or whatnot you can get, I think Factor is something that you should definitely look at. Now, what I think that you should just, commit for like a year's supply of Factor, absolutely not. You should, of course, test it out like I did, get a promo code from your favorite YouTuber, because I think at this point they sponsor so many YouTubers. One of the people you subscribe to probably is sponsored by Factor in some way or another. Or, of course, you can just use the promo codes they have on the website. You should try it out for a week, and you can see how it feels, It's not end-all be-all solution. And at the end of the day, it is a supplement. I don't think this is a long-term solution personally. I think they do kind of like revolve meals every week. So, so you're not getting the same thing over and over again, which I think is an issue with meal prep sometimes. Even me, who loves routine, who loves doing the same thing over again, who loves patterns, I think I would get a little tired of having microwaved meals every day. Because even if it is, which it is, good and pretty high quality, I think just mentally speaking, microwaved foods all the time might be a little grating for many people. So I think this can be a supplement for some of your meals. I think that if you are going through a really rough week, kind of like I was this week, where, it was just nice to have like peace of mind, that might be up to you. But again, I think testing out for you guys, seeing how it is, and then going in with knowing who this, who Factor is for, and deciding that if you are part of that ideal clientele, it might be worth it for you, is really important. As a whole, I did enjoy it, and I do recommend it to people who Factor would see as an ideal client, right? I think if you have a big family, if you are feeding more than one person, if you know for a fact financially that $15 a meal is a lot for you, I would probably not recommend this, because this very much is a singular person's experience. This is like for one person, and if you can't do that, I would say, try out other things, try the meal prepping, try something else. But that being said, that is my review of Factor. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.